Hi there, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to learn HTML from the basics. I recommend you to code along with me while watching this video so that you can solidify the concept. And once you watch the whole video, you're going to have a pretty good understanding of HTML. So without any delay, let's begin. So here in the browser, you just type download VS Code. So VS Code stands for Visual Studio Code, and you're going to get this first link code.visualstudio.com, and you just click this link and this web page is going to open for you. Now you might be saying, hey, what is this Visual Studio Code or VS Code? So basically VS Code is a text editor where you write your HTML code. And you can see you have three options for Windows, Linux or Mac. So based on your operating system, you just download this VS Code. And I believe you have downloaded the VS Code. Now once that is done, let's start with the HTML. So what is HTML? So here it is written that HTML stands for Hyper Text Markup Language. So that's the full form of HTML. So what does HTML do? Basically, HTML is a markup language for creating web pages. So if you want to create the web page, then you are going to write HTML for it. HTML is the foundation or the structure of your website. So you can create the structure of your website using HTML. As you can see on this website, different texts are written, right? So this text are written using HTML. This image are being inserted on this web page. All these things are done by HTML. Now I can show you that as well. So just right click and then click on this inspect here. And as soon as you click on the inspect, you can see all this code here inside this element tab. So this is basically HTML. And as you can see here, HTML is written out here. And if you click this icon and if you come here and highlight this, as you can see inside this tag, this text is written download VS Code or the Visual Studio Code, right? So this is how using HTML you create the structure of the website. This is how you create the web pages. And if you come down and click on this P link, and you can see this exact paragraph is written out here. So that's why we need to learn HTML in order to create the web page. Now that you understood what is the use of HTML, let us get started with the HTML and let us learn how to write the HTML code. So let me minimize this and let me come to the browser here, the window here, and let me create a folder here. So here, okay, so let me create this new folder, and here I'm going to name it as HTML. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my VS Code. So I believe you have downloaded the VS Code, and now you just come here, click on this file and open this folder section here. Go to the desktop, and here I've created this HTML folder. You just open this folder here, and as you can see, I've opened my folder which is empty. Now inside this folder, I just want to create a file. So in order to create a file, you need to click this icon, new file icon. You just click here and write the name of the file. So I'm just writing the name of my file as index, and at last I'm going to write .html. So .html is going to be the extension of your file. So whenever you are writing your HTML code, you are going to write in a particular file, and then the extension of that file always needs to be .html. Otherwise your code is not going to run it. All right. Now what you're going to do is I'm going to show you a small trick. You just hit shift in your keyboard and hit this exclamation mark. After you hit that, you're going to get this option. You just click here and you can see some of the HTML code is generated for you automatically. Now don't worry, I'm going to explain all this line by line to you, but before that, let me save and let me try to run this code. What is the output that we are getting? How can we do that? So well, there is a two way of doing that. First is obviously you go to that folder. This is the folder, and after that you open that HTML file and you just double click that, and there you can see that it is opening out here. But this is not a better way to do that. Why? Because as soon as you start writing some of the code, it does not get automatically reflected here. You need to keep on refreshing it. So we don't want to do in this way. Instead, what we can do is you just come to this VS Code and come to this extension section and just type here live server. All right. You just type the live server here and you're going to get this live server extension. You just install this live server in extension I've already installed here, and once you install this live server extension, you're going to get a small icon here below which is saying go live. So you just click this icon and it is going to launch your HTML file. And as you can see in my case, it already launched my HTML file. So now let us go to this VS Code and let us understand what all this code means. So let us start with the first line first. So in this first line, as you can see here, it is written as doc type. So what does this doc type means? So this doc type basically defines the document type that we are writing inside this file. What type of document are we writing inside this index.html file? So that is what this doc type is referring, and it is saying that to the browser. So by writing this doc type is saying, hey, this is a HTML file. It is saying that to the browser. And by writing this exclamation mark and HTML, basically it is saying that we are using the version 5 of HTML. This is telling this information to the browser, or it is providing this information to your browser in whatever browser you are running. Either it may be Chrome, Firefox, or anything else, right? And as you can see, some of the text written here with some angular bracket, right? So you might be seeing this kind of text, angular bracket is being opened and some random text is out written here, and this bracket is being closed, right? So these texts are known as tags in HTML, and every tag has its opening tag and closing tag. So this is known as your opening tag, and once you open the tag, it is necessary that you close your tag as well. And how can you close the tag? Well, you just replicate this tag same here and you just give this / here. So this is how you close the tag in HTML. Okay, and that's why you can see this tag formatting everywhere. We have this head tag, we have this meta tag, title tag, body tag, and whatnot. So let me explain it to you one by one. So once we understood this doc type, now let us move towards this line number 2, which is saying HTML lang en. So this simply means it is saying that we are writing this HTML in English language. And now the other tag we have is head tag. So what does this head tag do? So basically head tags contain all the information about the HTML code that we have written. So here we are going to write some of the HTML code, right? And it is going to have all this information about this HTML code. We are going to store those information inside the head tag. So let us explore. Like here inside the head tag, you can see this title tag here, and this inside this title tag you have seen this document text is written here. So where is this document text being reflected? So let me open the browser and let me see you here. You can see that, right? It is written document out here. So this is where it is being reflected. So this is the title of your web page. So I can like change this document and I can write as my website title. All right, this is what I can write here. You can write whatever you want, and then you just hit save and you come here and you can see the text got reflected on the title of your web page. So that's how you write the title of your web page. And now you might be wondering, what are these meta tags? Well, let me explain it to you one by one. So this is the first meta tag, which is saying character set UTF-8. Now before understanding meta tags, you need to understand what meta means. So meta means basically information about the information. So here meta tag simply means it is having the information about this HTML document. And here it is saying char set means it is saying character set, and what type of character standard that we are using inside the HTML. So we are using UTF-8 characters standard inside this HTML. So that's what this meta tag means. And now if we come to this line, here it is saying HTTP EQIV XUA compatible content IEH. So we write this meta tag for actually compatible issues. So whenever we are writing different HTML tags, some HTML tags might not be supported in your old or legacy browser like Internet Explorer and all. So in order to support those HTML tags, we write this meta tag here. And now if I come to this last meta tag here, so it is saying name viewport. So what does this viewport means? So viewport basically means the entire size of the device screen that you are using. So here you can see this is my laptop, and here you can see this is the size of my screen. So this is going to be the viewport of my screen. So if you're viewing this video in your mobile phone, then the entire screen size of your mobile phone is going to be the viewport of your device, right? So that's what it is saying, the viewport. And it is saying content, it is saying width, device width, initial scale 1.0. So by this means that whatever the content that we are writing here inside this web page, this needs to be reflected throughout the screen size of your mobile devices or laptop devices, whatever you are writing. Based on that, it basically needs to be adjusted, right? So that's what this content means. And here initial scale 1.0 means we are giving initial zoom of 1.0 no matter what the devices user is using, whether it may be mobile, desktop, or any other devices. So that's what meta tag basically means. So now we are done with the head tag. Now let us come to the body tag. What does this body tag mean? So basically body tag contains all other tags that we want to get reflected on this web page. So as you can see in this web page, all this text are being reflected out here, right? If I come here, you can see all these images and also all these things you can show on the web page by writing code inside your body tag. So whatever you write inside your body tag, that gets reflected on the web page. But whatever you write inside the head tag, that doesn't get reflected. Head tag is for the information about your HTML, and body tag is that particular tag which is dedicated to write your content for the web page, right? So whatever the content you want to display for the web page, so for that you need to write the HTML tag inside your body tag only. Now, another thing that I want to address is like you can name the choice of your file, like whatever the HTML file you want to name, you can name it. It's not necessary that you need to name it as index.html always. Well, it is the like standard way to do it. We usually name the first file as index.html, and the other file, whatever you want, you can name it. Like you can also write like about.html, and obviously it is also going to work pretty fine, right? The name is like whatever you want, you can give that particular name to your file. It's not a compulsory that you need to write index.html, but if it is your first file, it is expected that you write it as index.html only. All right, now let us explore our first tag. So that is going to be the p tag, so or known as the paragraph tag. So you just need to open your angular bracket, write p, and close your angular bracket. So this is how you open your p tag, and now you need to close your p tag also. So in order to close that, again you need to open your angular bracket, you need to write / and p, and you need to close your angular bracket. Here VS Code is helping me to do so, and if you want to write some paragraph, you can write here. So you can say this is my first paragraph. Okay, so this is my first paragraph. And all right, so let me save this and let me go to the browser and let me come here, and as you can see the paragraph here, it is saying this is my first paragraph. So this is what p tag means. So if you want to write some paragraph on your web page, you are going to use this p tag. So for example, here this is a paragraph, right? And this paragraph is written inside the p tag. Like let me right click, inspect, and show you here. So as you can see, this paragraph is written inside the p tag here. Okay, so let me close this and let us go to our web page. So we have learned our first tag, paragraph tag. Okay, now let us move towards the next tag, that is the heading tag. So we have different level of heading tag. So let us start with the h1 tag. So this is known as heading 1 tag. So let me write this is heading 1. Okay, so this is heading 1. So as soon as I write, let me save and let me open my browser, and as you can see, this is the heading tag here, h1 tag. Here you can see this is also an heading tag. Okay, so let me come here and let me open my VS Code. So we have different level of heading. So this is one level of heading, so we can go from h1 to h6 actually. Okay, so let me actually change the number here. I can make it h2. Okay, and this one I can make h3. All right, and this one I'm going to write h4, and this one I'm going to write h5. And like basically you can duplicate this tag also. There is a shortcut on VS Code. You can hit Ctrl Shift and D, and it is going to duplicate your tag. So here you can see I got duplicate tag of this h5, and here instead of writing 5, well, I'm going to write 6, and this is h6. Now let me open my browser and show you. As you can see, this is my h1 tag, this is my heading 2 tag, this is my heading 3, 4, 5 and 6. So let me change the number so that it is going to be easy for you. This is going to be 2, well, this is 3, and this one is 4, 5 and 6. Okay, let me save this and let me come to the browser. And as you can see, the h1 tag is the biggest tag, h2 is a bit smaller, then smaller and smaller, and h6 is the smallest tag. Okay, so based on the size of the heading you want to use, accordingly you can use h1 or h6 according to your requirement. Okay, so we have already explored two tags, the paragraph tag and the heading tag. Okay, now let us explore our third tag, that is going to be the image tag. Let's just say you want to insert image on your web page. So how can we do that? So it's pretty simple. You just need to open your angular bracket, write img and give forward slash and close the angular bracket. Now you might be saying, hey Rajesh, you told me that every HTML tag is going to have its opening tag and closing tag, but where is this closing tag in case of HTML, in case of this image tag? Well, because image tag is basically a self closing tag. So in HTML you are going to get two different kinds of tag. One is self closing tag and the other is normal tag, which is going to have its opening tag and closing tag. But there are some tags which does not require the closing tag, it is going to close by itself. So that's why in the end we put this forward slash. So these kinds of tag are called self-closing tag. Let me save these and let me come to the browser, and here you cannot see any image. Well, because I need to insert the particular image I want to see, right? So let me grab the image first. So let me write this pixels here. So pixels is basically a website which gives you a list of images. All right, and now let me click this image and let me copy the image address. Now let's just say I want to show this image on my web page. So how can I do that? So well, I have copied the link of this image by doing copy image address. Now let me come to the VS Code. Now inside this image tag, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give space and I'm going to write src. So this src is an attribute. So I'm going to write src and I'm going to give equal to, and I'm going to write this invitation comma, and inside this invitation comma I'm going to paste the link of the image. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. And now let me save and let me come to my web page, and as you can see my image is loaded on the web page here. So this is how you're going to load the image on your web page. And let's just say the height of the image is too long and you want to control the height of this image. So how can you do that? Well, that's pretty much easy. So let me just hit enter here and let me hit enter here one more time. And what you can do is, once you have written your src, now what you can do is you can control the height as well. So it is pretty much simple. You just need to write this style attribute here and you need to write height inside this invitation comma, and here you need to write height semicolon, all right, colon first, and you need to write this semicolon, and inside this you need to write the unit of the height. Let's just say I need 28 and I'm going to write px. So px is basically pixel, so it is the unit of the height or width, right? So I'm writing 280 pixel. Now let me save by Control S and let me come to the browser, and as you can see the height of the image got reduced. Now if I want to make it more smaller, then what I can do is I can write 180 pixel, and again the height of the image is going to be reduced here. As you can see it got reduced. Even I can make it 80 pixel as well, and as you can see it got reduced more. So let me keep it as 180 pixel here. Okay, and we have another tag called, not tag, attribute inside this image tag called alt. Okay, so you just need to write alt equal to an invitation comma. So this is another attribute inside the image tag that you get. So alt means alternate. So what is this attribute used for? So let's just say there is some technical issue and this image is not loading on the web page. Let's just say I've written wrong URL, and instead of this images I'm just going to write image. I'm going to remove the s, and as you know that image is not loading here. but you want to tell user that, hey, there is an image but it is not loading here due to some technical issue, and you want to explain user that what this image is about. So for that, this alternate tag is used. Suppose if the image is not rendering on the web page, then you are going to render that text in place of image. So that's why we call this as an alternate attribute. So here you can simply type as this is a book image. Okay, you can type in that way. Okay, and you can come here, and as you can see right now, you can see this image logo, and you can see this text, this is a book image. So whenever there is a faulty in your image rendering, and if the image is not rendering on the web page, in that moment of time you can see this alternate tag getting kicked off in your browser. Okay, but once the URL is fixed, at that time you won't be seeing this alternate tag. So I'm placing back my S. Now let me save, and as you can see, alternate tag is gone and image is visible on the web page. Okay, now just like we have added different attribute to our image tag, we can also add some attribute to other tags as well, like this heading tag and paragraph tag. Each tag has their own unique attribute, but there are some common attributes that we can use across all the tags. Like this style is a common attribute that we can use on almost every tag. Like we can use in image tag, we can use in this heading tag and paragraph tag and every HTML tag. But there are some tags which are private to that, some attribute which are private to that tag only. Let's just say we have this src tag or alt tag. We can use this attribute inside this image tag only. We cannot use this src or the source attribute and this alt attribute inside this heading tag and paragraph tag. We can use this inside the image tag or video tag only. Okay, but this style attribute is a global attribute. Okay, and we can use this style attribute everywhere. We can use inside this heading, paragraph, and everywhere. Let's just say I want to use this style attribute inside the h1 tag. So I'm just going to write style here. I'm going to give space and I'm going to write style, and it is auto completing me. And here let's just say I want to change the color of this heading. So I'm just going to say color, and I'm going to give colon, and what color I want. Well, I want red color, let's just say, and I'm going to close this by giving semicolon. Okay, let me save this and let me come here, and as you can see, this heading tag turns into red color. Now let's just say I want to make this heading 2 as yellow color. Well, I can do that as well. So I can come here, I can hit style, and I can type color, and I can make it yellow. Okay, and let me come here, and this turns into yellow, but it's not visible. So let me make it blue, and let me go to the browser, and as you can see, I turned this tag into blue color. Okay, so now that we understood paragraph tag, heading tag, and image tag, let us move towards understanding some other tag as well. So let us first understand this tag known as div tag. So let me remove this as of now. Let me open this angular bracket. Let me write div and let me close. So this, I've written this div tag here. So what does this div tag do? So this div tag basically helps you to containerize your elements. So if you want to put your set of elements in one particular container and make it one different container, then for that you can use this div tag. So let me explain it to you with an example. So let's just say you want to make a different container which is going to have its own unique heading, image, and its paragraph. So we can do that. So let me give this here like h for heading, and let me write that this is image 1. Okay, and here let me write the image tag as well. Okay, and let me go to my browser, and let me come here, let me close this. Okay, and let's just say I'll be picking this image. All right, so let me copy the address of this image. Let me come here, and as you all know that I need to paste the link inside this src or the source tag. Okay, so now my image tag is completed, and here I'm just going to give a small paragraph. Okay, and I'm going to say this is a paragraph of the above image. Okay, so now let me save this and let me come here and let me come out to our web page. And as you can see here, we have this image one heading, we have this image, and we have this paragraph which is saying this is a paragraph of the image. Now we are writing all this inside this div tag. So basically what this div tag is doing is it is making one whole unique container of these three elements. Okay, and similarly we can create another container also. So let me show you. So here what I can do is I can copy this and I can come here and I can paste, and let me change the image. Okay, so I'm going to use a different image here so that we can differentiate. So let me use this image. Okay, so this is not an image, it's a video. All right, so let me use this image as of now. Okay, let me come in, let me copy the address. Okay, let me come to the VS Code, and inside this source I'm going to copy the paste the link of that image. Okay, it's done, and let me change the text. So I'm going to say this is image 2, and I'm going to say this is a paragraph of the image 2. Okay, so the above one I'm going to write it as 1. Okay, and let me save and go to the browser. And as you can see that we have first container which is having its heading, image, and paragraph, and similarly we have another container which is having its image, heading, image, and paragraph. And you might be saying, hey, I don't see any kind of container, I see all these things as the same thing. Well, so in order to identify that, you need to open the inspect. So just right click and hit that inspect element, and as you can see two different div here, right? So first, you know what, let me reduce the size of an image so that I can explain you properly. So let me add the style tag here in both. Okay, so let me write style and let me give height. Okay, so height I'm going to give 80 pixel to both. Now height is going to reduce and I can explain it to you properly. So let me come here, and as you can see we have two different div tag. Okay, so this is one div, and you can see this div is covering this entire section. As you can see the blue highlight here, right? As soon as I hover on this div, so this div is making whole one container of this entire three elements that we have written inside this div. And similarly we have another div which is making another separate container of all those elements which we have written inside this second div. So if you want to containerize and you want to keep a group of elements and you want to keep them in a particular place, then you can place them inside the div. Okay, now let us go to the VS Code, and now let us discuss about the block level element versus span element. Okay, so inline element, basically block level element versus inline element. And now notice that I have written these tags inside this format. So this is known as comment. So how to create a comment? Basically what you need to do is you need to hit control and you need to hit forward slash, and it is going to generate a comment for you. And inside this comment whatever you type, no matter, that is not going to be reflected on the web page. Okay, so but if you remove this comment, so removing comment is also same, you just need to hit control and forward slash. Now the comment is being removed. Now if you come to the web page, so it is reflecting on the web page here. But if you comment it out, you just need to do control and hit forward slash. Now it is commented. Now this is not going to reflect it on the web page. So as you can see, it is gone from the web page. Okay, so this is for the purpose of explaining. I'm just commenting out here. So let me explain it to you, block element versus inline element. So what is the difference between block level and inline element? So all this div tag and paragraph tag and heading tag are your block level element, and we have this other type of element called inline element, which is your span tag, okay, image tag. So these are your inline elements. So let me explain it to you. So this is how you create a span tag here, and let me duplicate this by writing Control Shift and D, and let me type here this is span 1. Okay, and here let me write this is span 2. Okay, that's all. And here above this I'm going to write one div tag, and here what I'm going to say, this is div1. Okay, let me write this and let me come to the browser and here you can see that I've written this tag this is div1. So and this div is a block level element. So by block level element, it means that this block level element is going to cover the entire width of your screen, okay, of your device screen. So it is not going to give any extra spaces for other elements. So let's just say we have written here two span element, right? This is span 1 and this is span 2. So technically this is span 1 and span 2 should have come to the same line of this is div 1. But this is div 1 element is not allowing and it is sending this to the new line. Why? Because this div element is covering the entire width of the screen even though it doesn't require it. So let me show you here. So this is the div and let me highlight here, and as you can see this blue mark here, right? So this blue mark means it is covering the entire width of the screen of your device screen. It may be mobile, laptop or computer. Okay, so that's what block level element is. So block level element basically covers the entire width of your screen, and inline element is quite opposite. Inline element basically cover only that particular width which is required. Okay, so here you can see this is there we have two span element and both are coming on the same line. Well, because the first span requires only this much width and the second requires only this much. Now even if we add some extra inline element, you can see all the inline elements coming in the same line until and unless the width is full here. Okay, so that's what inline element is. So inline elements are those which covers only the necessary width of your screen, and block level element are those which takes the entire width of your screen. So I hope now you understood the difference between block level element versus inline element. Okay, now you can also use span tag for styling purposes as well. So let's just say we have this heading 1 here, this is heading 2 here, which is in blue color, you can see here, right? But what I want to do is I want to make this as blue color, this is, but I want to change this heading to, and I want to make this part as green color. So how can I do? So well, I can do that using span tag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out and I'm going to write the span tag, and inside this span tag I'm going to write this heading 2, and here well I'm going to add the style attribute and I'm just going to say color, and well I'm going to say green. Okay, and let me come here, and as you can see, so I've got this heading 2 text in green color. Okay, so that's how you can use span elements. Now you have understood your paragraph tag, heading, image, div and span. Now you also understood the difference between block level element versus inline element. Now let us move towards the listing. Let's just say you want to list some items on the web page. So how can you do that? So you can do that using listing tag that we have in the HTML. We have two different type of listing tag, ordered list and unordered list. So let me discuss first unordered list. So how can you create? It's pretty much simple. You just write ul and you create this. So by using this you have created your unordered listing tag. Now if you want to list an element, what you need to do is inside this ul you just need to write this li tag. So li simply stand for list item. So you need to write the list of your item that you want to list. So let's just say I want to make the list of fruits. So here let me write this p tag and I'm going to say this is the list of fruits. All right, and here I'm going to list the name of fruits. Let's just say this is an apple. Okay, and let me hit Ctrl Shift D and duplicate this tag, and let me write this as mango. All right, let me write this as cherry, and let me write this as banana. Okay, so these are the list of fruits that I have written here. Now let me come to the web page, and as you can see that it is being listed out here. So apple, mango, cherry and banana, and this listing is done by this entire unordered list tag, and that's why you see this bullet points out here, right? So this bullet listing is known as unordered listing. Let's just say you want to list in an ordered way, like instead of bullet you want numbers like 1 2 3 4. Well, that also you can do. Okay, so let me copy this first and let me paste it out here, and let me write this is the list 2 of fruits, and let me close this angular bracket. Okay, list 2 of fruits, and here instead of writing ul, what I can do is I can remove this u and I'll just replace u with o. Okay, so now this o means ordered and l means list. So ul means unordered list, so that's why it is going to list in the bullet list format, and ol means ordered list, so it is going to list in the number format 1 2 3 and 4. And inside this it's pretty much same. You just need to write this li tag, which is known as list item tag. Now let us go to the browser, and as you can see that first tag, that is unordered list, is listing in bullet points, and then the second tag, which is the ordered list, it is listing in the numeric format, which is 1 2 3 and 4 in a particular order format. Now let us discuss one of the most important tags of HTML. Those are forms, right? We see forms everywhere on the web page we visit, like login form, sign in form, and sign up form. All the forms are there, right? So let us discuss those forms. So in order to create that form, we need form tag. So let us create the form tag. So I'm going to write form here, and let me open and close my tag. Now inside this form tag, we need to write different input field. As you can know that on the web page we have different type of input field: email input field, name input field, right, password input field. So let us first create this username input field. So how do we create? So we just need to type the name input, all right, and we just need to close, and you can see that input tag is a self closing tag. Okay, so we don't need to write another closing tag for it, and we just need to mention the type of an input. Since I want to make this input as a username input field, and well, username is going to be in text format, so I'm going to name this type as text. So I'm going to set type equals to, and inside the invitation comma I'm going to write text. But notice we have different type of input format here. We have button, checkbox, color, date, right, image, radio, and whatnot, but I'm going to write it as text. Okay, so it is going to be text input format. Okay, now let me save, and let me come here, and as you can see I got an input field where user can type its name. But as you can see, this input field is not self-explanatory. It is not saying what to type. We need to tell user what to type inside this input field, right? So for that, what I can do is, like, you can come here and you can add an attribute called placeholder. And inside this placeholder, whatever you type, that you're going to get reflected in your input element. So here I'm going to type enter your name, and now you can see that inside your input element here, enter your name, and now user understand, right, that hey, I need to type my name here. So let me type the name Rajesh, and I can say, and as soon as I start typing my name, this placeholder will go away. Okay, so that's what placeholder basically means. And similarly I can create other input element as well. So let me come here and let me create this input element. Let me close this tag, and the another input field I want is for entering the email. So I'm just going to write type, and I'm just going to say it is going to be of email type. Okay, and well, I need to add placeholder as well, and here I'm going to say enter your email. Okay, and let me come here, and as you can see another input field for email. Now similarly I want for password also, so let me duplicate this, and here inside type, so instead of email I'm going to write it as password, and in placeholder, in place of email again, I'm going to write it as password. And as you can see here, we have three different input field: name, email, and password. And as soon as I type something on password, as you can see my password is hidden here. Why it is so? Because I've mentioned the type as password here. So if I remove this type as password, and if I write text, and now if I type something, then it is not hidden, right? So it is visible. So I want to make this hidden because this is a password field, and password field should be hidden, right? So that's why what we can do is, instead of text we need to write password here so that it remains hidden. Okay, now let me close this pop-up here, and let's just say you want to bring this input field in a particular line, right? You want to order in line by line format. You don't want all the input field in one single line, and that you can do by putting this input field into their respective div, right? You can make a separate container of them, because you know that div is a block level element and it occupies the entire width of the screen. So that's why if you write this input element inside the div, well, this this input element is now coming inside the div, and now it is taking the entire width of the screen, right? So similarly what we can do is we can put all the other input element as well on inside the div here, and similarly the last one is also I'm going to put inside the div only here, and now you can see all the three input elements coming line by line. Okay, so they are not on the same line, now they are being shown in the new line. Now we have another type of input which is also known as checkbox. So let me write the div and let me write input. Okay, let me create this input. Now instead of type text, what you need to do is you need to write type as checkbox. Okay, and here you are going to get this checkbox. Okay, and but this checkbox is having empty text, so in order to write some text we have another tag called label. Okay, so here in label, so let me come here and I'm going to say agree the terms and condition, okay, to register. Now whatever the text I have written inside this label tag, so it is going to show within the checkbox here, as you can see in the same line. Now it is saying that agree the terms and condition to register, and user can simply click this checkbox and hit that register button. But let's just say like what I want to do is as soon as user click on this text agree the terms and condition, I want to make this checkbox check and uncheck. I don't want user to go manually and click this checkbox and make check and uncheck. Even if user click on this text, I want to make this checkbox check and uncheck. So how can I do that? So that's pretty simple. What I need to do is I need to assign an ID to this checkbox, and simply I'm going to say, let's just say I'm going to give a unique name. Let's just say I'm going to write TC, stand for terms and condition. So now this ID is a unique name that is given to this input element. Okay, so ID is basically a unique identity that we are giving to each element or the HTML element. Now this TC is an identity or the ID that we are giving to this input element. Now we can identify, or this label tag can identify that particular element using its ID name. So inside this label tag you need to write this attribute called for, and inside this for you just need to name the ID of that element. So I want to refer or associate this checkbox with this label. So here I'm going to write the ID of this element or the checkbox, which is TC. Now both these elements are linked. Now let us go to the browser, and now if you click on this text, it is going to check and uncheck the checkbox. You don't need to come manually here and check and uncheck. Even if you click on this text, it is going to work completely fine. Okay, now let us explore another important tag which is also known as select tag or option tag. You might have seen different drop down list on the web page where you need to select a particular option, so that we can do using the select tag. Okay, so let me open this select tag. So let me remove these attributes here, and inside this select tag, I just need to write this another tag called option, and you need to name different option. Okay, so let me duplicate, and duplicating is pretty simple. You just need to hit Control Shift and D, and it is going to duplicate for you. And let's just say here I'm going to write a p tag which is saying select your favorite superhero. Okay, and I'm just going to keep some options of superhero. So the first one is going to be Batman. Okay, and second one is going to be Iron Man. Okay, the third one, let's just say it is going to be Captain America. Okay. And the fourth one is going to be Hulk. Let me know what is your favorite superhero in the comment section. And now let us go to the web page, and as you can see I have this drop down list which is saying select your favorite superhero, and by default you can see the first option, which is Batman, is selected. So that's how this select tag works. The first option gets selected by default, and what you can do is you can come here and you can click this and you can see the list, and you can select, like you can select Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, whichever is your favorite superhero. Mine is Iron Man, so I'm just selecting Iron Man here. Okay. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed watching this video and understood the introductory concept of HTML. I would recommend you to practice these concepts, and once you get comfortable with it, then you can move towards learning CSS. Also, please like this video and subscribe to this channel if you want to learn web development and get updated with the latest trend of web development.